This is Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
Behind the Mic is live from Grunions Sports Bar Grill here in Manhattan Beach, California on this Wednesday evening, April the 11th, 2018. Brad Dalius and Keith Jackson with you. Great to have you back here for another great week of Behind the Mic. Lots to talk about as we dive into a very busy world of sports tonight, Keith. The Stanley Cup playoffs officially began tonight. The puck was dropped in several cities across the United States. The defending champion Pittsburgh Penguins, they made a loud statement as they shut out the Flyers 7-0 tonight. Very impressive for the defending champs. So we got hockey underway. Major League Baseball continues to roll along. Tonight at 8 o'clock, we're going to be speaking with Mr. Vincent Page. He's a contributor at HaloHangout.com. Talking a lot of Angels tonight. After their best start since 1987, the Halos are hitting the cover off the baseball, not to mention all of the Ohtani mania that is going on throughout LA and across the country as it's kind of just sweeping the whole sports world right now. So we'll talk with Vincent at around 8 o'clock tonight about everything that's Angels related. Also, it's the last night of the NBA regular season. We have a lot of different playoff scenarios to kind of play out. Seeds have to get finalized. We have a somewhat of a play-in game tonight between Minnesota and Denver, currently taking place right now in Minneapolis. Currently, it is 99-91, Minnesota on top with just under 4.5 to play in that one. So we'll keep tabs on that one. Truly the first playoff game, quote-unquote, if you will, of the NBA playoffs. So we'll talk about all the NBA playoffs coming up tonight. Obviously, those games get started this weekend. The Lakers wrap things up tonight against the Clippers at Staples Center. We'll talk about the debut of Andre Ingram in just a second, Keith. But lots to get into tonight here on the show. Great to have you with us on BehindTheMicShow.com. And also, if you're listening on the Behind the Mic app. Where do we begin? First off, the big breaking news. I have to start with this, Keith. We are officially expanding Behind the Mic once again.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
We will now be with you on Tuesday nights, live from Patrick Malloy's down on the pier in Hermosa Beach. A great location for the show. I am truly excited about it. It kind of really adds just another layer and another dynamic to our audience here, as each place is a little bit different. If you listen, if you follow us each week. Obviously, we've been at Grunions here on Wednesday evenings. Kings Cove has been our home on Thursday nights now for just over a month or so, and we cater to a different audience in each place as far as who comes out and sees us in person and who listens to us online. So Malloy's just kind of adds to that. I'm excited about it. It's a great spot, great location if you've never been down there. Tuesday night is a great night for us. They have an awesome Taco Tuesday lineup, Keith. A lot of half-off deals and specials on drinks. The works.
Man, it's great to see, us expanding and continue to do that. You know, a lot of people like to hear us and hear what we talk about on the topics and stuff like that, and we enjoy listening to them and talking to them and just being around an environment that with people who love sports, and it's great to have that. So, I mean, for us, and I think it's huge, and for also our fans out there to listen to us, this is big because now you can listen to us not just 2 days, but 3 days out the week. I mean, how great is that? And we get to hear your thoughts and hear their thoughts as well, and hopefully it just continues, man.
If you want to jump aboard tonight, it's 213-261-7491. 213-261-7491 is the number to call into Behind the Mic. The other big news today out of Los Angeles, Keith, is that the Dodgers were awarded the All-Star Game in the year 2020. The Dodgers will play host to that in a couple of seasons from now. This year, the Midsummer Classic will be in D.C., next year in 2019, I believe it's going to be somewhere along the East Coast as well. So 2020, 2 years, that's when the All-Star Game will be here in Los Angeles for the first time since 1980. So it's been a long time coming to get the Midsummer Classic back here in L.A. But I know we were talking about it last week as far as during our buy or sell segment and when we were playing 10 questions. What's a city you'd like to see the Final Four in? I think we talked about a future Final Four site, and you said bring it to Los Angeles. So not the Final Four, but the All-Star Game. Not too bad.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, look, we have the All-Star here all the time. We're going to have the Olympics eventually. That's eventually going to be here. And why not? I mean, just adds to it. I mean, L.A. is a huge, huge market. It's a big place. And those are like places that you must have your sports events at. I mean, this city makes a lot of money, same as New York, and why not have it at a place where you can generate a lot of revenue? So I'm with it. All the Hollywood stars are out here. You see all the celebs and everything. It's right in their own backyard, so that's great.
The last time Major League Baseball had an All-Star Game in general in the Southern California area was 2010. It was actually in Anaheim. I was at that game, by the way. That was a lot of fun. I remember that was the first time the National League won in a very long time. So to have it come back here in 2020 will be a lot of fun, like you said, Keith, for everyone in this area and beyond. Other things that are going on right now, the Angels are currently leading the Rangers down in Texas by a score of 5-1. As I mentioned at the outset tonight, we're going to speak with Vincent Page from HaloHangout.com. He will check in at around 8 o'clock tonight, talking all things Angels. Like I said, they're off to their best start since 1987 at a 9-3 clip. They've had some problems with the starting rotation, some injuries. We'll get into that later on tonight, but right now they are leading 5-1. The Dodgers are currently in progress tonight as well. They've had their ups and downs, as Keith and I was talking about off the air before tonight's show. We could talk baseball, though, later on. This first hour, though, I really want to get into basketball conversation and what's going on. It's now 99-96, Minnesota on top of Denver as they come up on 3 minutes to play in the regulation. The winner is in the playoffs with the 8th seed in the West. The loser is out. Doesn't get more better or more simpler than that.
Hey, this is a playoff game. We talk about playoffs, but this is a good preview of a playoff game. These guys are battling from tooth and nail, and it just kind of shows you. We were just talking about just the personnel. You look at Minnesota. Minnesota it'll be a shame to me if they don't get into the playoffs with the star power they have. They have guys who are rising stars: Karl Anthony Towns, Wiggins, Andrew Wiggins is another one, and then you got players that veteran guys in the league. I think like Derek Teague. You got Derrick Rose, who was a MVP, All-Star as well. Jimmy Butler, who's an All-Star player, but was been an All-Star game and stuff like that, coming off an injury. So it would be a shame if they didn't make actually make the playoffs. And we just see right now, I think Denver's tied it up. These guys going to battle. This game's going to go down to the wire. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes into overtime. But these are two teams that don't want their season to end. And one of them's got to go. So it's going to be a great game right now, watching them. And to me, Minnesota's like the Chicago Bulls back when they had Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose when he was in his pure form, and Taj Gibson, who's now playing with them as well. And you look at it, I mean, hey, Derrick Rose is actually playing pretty well. Derrick Rose, I think Thibodeau is the answer. Certain players play better with certain coaches, and Thibodeau has really fit. It fits Derrick Rose's style. That's the type of coach he would like to play for. And I'm thinking that even at the end of the season, they'll probably re-sign him.
That would be fair. That would be fair to all parties involved. And there really is, like you said, Keith, something to a player-coach relationship. Sometimes Sometimes one or the other brings out the best in the other person.
Yeah.
And that's what you're seeing here so far with Minnesota. So we'll keep tabs on this game. The Lakers play their final game of the regular season tonight at Staples, as I said before, taking on the Clippers in somewhat of a meaningless game. The Lakers are trying to get the 35 victories on the season. The big story, though, in L.A. last night, Keith, we have to touch on it now, with the Lakers specifically, was Andre Ingram.
Yeah.
What a story.
Oh, what a story. I mean, to me, you look at it, this guy has been in the G League for 10 years. You talk about a player that really had hopes and dreams of playing in the NBA. And getting his opportunity the last 2 games and really showing out and giving a great performance. 19 points, I believe, three assists, something like that. He shoots 48% from the field. I mean, I'm like, what were the Lakers doing the whole season? We should have brought him up earlier, you know? But
you and a lot of other Laker fans are thinking the same thing.
What it is when you look at it, this goes out to all the kids and everybody out there that, you know, chasing a dream or something that you want to do in life, you know, it's not far-fetched if you stick with it. If you stick with it through thick and thin, this person has stuck with it for 10 years, been in the G League, been that close, but hasn't been there yet, just couldn't get over the hump, and finally got his opportunity and making the most of it, to the point where, you know, you got people, we got us talking about it. You got on Bleacher Report and stuff, they were putting up memes of, oh, next year LeBron James, Paul George, Andre Ingram, and Brandon Ingram. And
the 2 Ingrams.
Yeah, the 2 Ingrams coming back. You know, like
the unofficial brothers.
So it's going to be a great time next year, you know. But, you know, it's when you look at it, I'm just so happy for him. For him and his family. I mean, that's going to change his whole life. He's 32 years old in the league. He's probably one of the oldest guys to play in to be a rookie dang near in this year.
He became the oldest American rookie in the NBA since the early 60s.
Yeah.
So that gives you some insight. It's been a very, very long time.
But it shows you, if you work hard at what you want in life, you can get it. But you just got to, and no matter what hurdles or anything that's in front of you, you know, if you stick with it, and continue to stick. And then there's going to be times where you just want to give up. I'm pretty sure Andre Ingram wanted to give up. I'm pretty sure there was been a day or a time that he wanted to give up, you know, and he just stuck with it. 10 years, and you finally get the nod to go play in the NBA game. And for the Los Angeles Lakers, for that matter, you know what's so great about the Lakers, though, and their organization? They're the only team that really does stuff like that. And that's what I love about them. They're a true A-class franchise. That's why they're the one of the top of the face of the league. Oh my God, Kings did Vegas just score already?
Vegas just scored. By the way, the Kings are playing tonight as well. This is a wild sports night, man. Now, you got so much going on from Dodgers, Angels, Kings in action. The Ducks will be in action tomorrow night. But yeah, what was this, less than a couple minutes into this game?
They just dropped the puck, and they just scored.
Wow, the magical season for the Golden Knights just continues here right into the playoffs. That was going to be the big thing with them, is could they continue that regular season success into the postseason? Well, that checks off that box right off. Off the get-go. Wow.
I'm sorry to get sidetracked. I just saw that, and I was like, wait a minute here. But anyway, back, you know, and it's, you know, that's what's great about the Laker franchise, but it also sucks in a way that that's the highlight of the Lakers franchise this year, for the Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers, is Andre Ingram, a guy who stuck 10 years. I mean, what a great story, like 10 years in the G League, and comes up, and he's scoring more than Lonzo ever did. You know, I'm just saying that's your storyline, your thing. And so I think the Lakers got a lot of work to do coming up this following season. And something needs to be done. I think they do need to revamp their whole team. I think they're most likely going to bring Isaiah Thomas back. But I think, you know, Andre Ingram, I mean, I think he could be a great addition to the team. He's actually proven it just off of one game. This is just one game. He's going to go through some slump. Let's see what he does tonight. But if he has a great night tonight, a way to end his season, you have to give him a nod to come back for preseason next year. You just have to. You know, you got to give him that shot and that opportunity. So, you know, we'll see what happens, man, with him playing with the team, but also for the Lakers, what's going to be next for them. what moves they're going to make. That's the more important thing.
This all started on Monday, by the way. The Lakers, they signed Ingram for the last 2 games of the regular season, if you're not familiar with the story. And then, like he said before, he scored 19 points last night in his professional debut at 32 years old. By the way, it's 101-101, tied game, Denver and Minnesota, as they come up to under a minute to play at the Target Center in Minneapolis. But Andre Ingram, it really is an incredible story. He can shoot the ball from behind the arc, too.
Yeah.
A couple threes
shoot.
Last night. He had 4 3-pointers in the debut, and it was the most points scored, I don't know if you saw this one, Keith, by any Laker in his first career game since Nick the Quick, Nick Van Exel.
Nick Van Exel.
He scored 23 points in his debut back in 1993.
Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible.
And like I said before, he became the oldest American rookie in the NBA since the early 1960s.
Wow. Well, hey, I'm going to just say that it's a great – what a great way to end his season, to get the opportunity to play for the Lakers and actually do something and play well. So it's gonna be interesting to see what's next for the Lakers, what moves they make. But that has to be on your mind. That do we bring this guy back? Look, if the Lakers don't pick him up, somebody's gonna pick him up for sure.
Well put, and I like what you said earlier as well, Keith, about this guy obviously being in the D League, now the G League, for a long, long time, about a decade or so. And you're right. There's no doubt. I'm sure there were many times he thought maybe this wasn't going to be for me. Maybe I was going to go down a different path. Maybe I'm really not destined to be in the NBA after all. But there really is something to say about sticking with it and being persistent in the face of a lot of adversity, I'm sure, and a lot of odds stacked against you. So once again, just an incredible story. Andre Ingram with the Lakers making that very, very incredible debut last night. As for the team itself, like you were saying, this is a big offseason, as once this game finishes tonight, last season they were 26-56. They've improved this year. If they can win tonight, they'll finish 35-47. That's an improvement of a little bit.
Yeah.
But we know expectations for this franchise in the long run are a lot bigger than just winning 35 games in a season. All eyes will turn to the summer and free agency, and obviously the draft will be a big part of that. But this isn't going to be a team that's going to pick in the lottery this year in all likelihood. Depending on how the ping pong balls decide to bounce. But this really isn't a summer in that regard for them. It's going to be all about, can they lure big-time free agents, as they've been talking about a lot during the regular season, as we've discussed with a lot of different people ourselves here on Behind the Mic. They've obviously cleared the cap room for it. That's what they're gearing towards, and a lot is riding on that. That's the position they've put themselves in. If they don't cash in on that, it's going to be disappointing to a lot of Lakers fans, because they've built it up to the point now that if they don't get those guys, they're going to have a hard time competing for what they really want to compete for next season.
Yeah.
So this is really big this summer. All the chips are on the table. They've really gambled a lot on getting big guys like Paul George or LeBron James potentially.
Yeah, and most certainly. But, when you look back and you're like, what's the highlight of their season? And it really, when I think about it, when I was thinking about sitting back the other day, I was thinking, what's the highlight of the Lakers season this year? The only thing to me, the highlight of the season was Kyle Kuzma.
Yes, he was phenomenal.
The addition to I'll say this, the addition to IT, I mean, I don't know in terms of the point production, what he potentially can do. And then this guy, Andre Ingram, coming in, and that's about it.
At the very, very tail end of the season.
Tail end of the season. But that was about it. That was the only thing to me that really was the highlight of this year. And so hopefully, going into next season, we can get those big additions, because Laker fans out here, man, they've been waiting and sitting for years, and Jimmy Buss messed up I'm gonna say it, Jimmy Buss messed up the team in a matter of a year.
Of course he did.
He met in a matter of a year, and
Phil Jackson should have coached his team a lot longer than he did.
Yes,
we all know that.
Yes. And a matter of a year, and and you lose. I just think there's some things that happen during the season. I think that's kind of where the downfall began. So, I think hopefully Magic came back. He's doing some great things. I don't know what they're going to do with Luke. I'm pretty sure they're going to leave. They're going to give him his shot again next year, and probably the year after that. And if he does anything, if nothing really improves, then they'll probably let him go and give somebody else that shot. But I think it's a matter of like what happens, like who they get rid of. The question is, do they get rid of this Julius Randle? I really think that they're going to Julius Randle's no longer going to be a Laker after this year. I think he's going to go after his money. I don't think Lakers are going to pay him what he wants. I think I can see him either in San Antonio or I can see him in Dallas.
I feel like a lot of people are split on Julius Randle at this point in time because he's played better down the stretch here.
He has.
He played well last night. But I was going to ask you, actually, if you continue to believe that that's the path he's going to go down, he's going to ultimately sign somewhere else, and it seems like you haven't wavered from that. You think it's going to hold true.
Yeah, I think so. I just think that, to be in this league he's been in the league for 3 years now.
Yep.
And, there's really he plays well. He's played well, but, he makes a lot of mistakes. He can hurt you and he can help you. He's that type of player. He can hurt you or he can help you, and that's how it works with him. But to me, he does more hurting than he does helping, and it's just not, to me, the style they want to play. Like, they got enough guard play to bring the ball up. He wants to bring the ball up, and then you can see the selfishness in the guy sometimes where he's not playing, he's soaking, he's pouting on the bench, that type of thing.
Can't have that.
Yeah, you can't have that.
For a team that's going to take the next step at least.
Yeah.
By the way, good call. Minnesota and Denver are going to overtime.
Yes.
Tied at 101.
I knew they would.
You called that one.
They're going overtime. The reason why, because these guys are fighting for their season. Nobody wants to lose. They don't want their season to end. And so they're going to fight tooth and nail. So
the Lakers are going to be on the golf course tomorrow morning. So.
Oh, yeah, and the Bahamas and everything. They're going all over the place. Lonzo probably go back to Chino.
Yeah.
Go stay with get the JBA league going. What a failure that's becoming right now. Well, we already knew that. That was going to happen. You're just not going to get past the NCAA. I'm sorry. Like, NCAA is too big. You're not. It's not going to happen. But back to what I was saying. I think the Lakers, I think they got a lot of I think Lonzo's going to be – I think if Lonzo can focus on just basketball, don't worry about what his father says or anything like that. Kind of just focus on that. And I think he's kind of done a great job of doing that. Then I think he'll be okay. But I've known it was going to take him some time to get to – I wasn't surprised at all the way he played. The only thing I was more surprised of is that the amount of games he played this year. Like, he didn't play a lot. Like, he didn't play a lot of games because of the injury, due to injuries he's had. And then not a great showing like the way I thought it would be. But it was like a okay rookie year. Kyle Kuzma was the one that impressed me the most.
Absolutely. He was the biggest standout this season from this team. I don't think there's any question about that. Lonzo, it's interesting, and this probably won't get too much press because the team was really bad this year. And although they improved from last year, it still was not a playoff team, obviously. And just the fact that this was a very difficult rookie season for him because of the injuries, like you said, and because of the family dynamic that his family presents, and the Lakers trying to get a hold of that, having meetings, some official, some unofficial, we presume, with LeVar Ball and company. So it was a very difficult season for him. And again, I don't think that's really gotten a lot of press, but because the team hasn't been great. But if this was a team that was a playoff team and that would, really had a solid season, I feel like that would have gotten a lot more talk. And I really, truly feel it was very difficult for him to get through this season. We'll see what the sophomore campaign brings. It seems that the Lakers, to me, they have a good hold on Lonzo Ball and his family dynamic.
Yeah.
It seems they got a hold on that. It was somewhat out of control at the beginning of the season, as we know. It's really piped down over the last several months. You haven't heard nearly as much. Who knows if that will change once the offseason comes around. And I don't know.
LiAngelo doesn't get selected.
He's not getting selected.
He's not getting selected.
Come on.
But I think it's, I think they had a talk with, and this is just me, I think they really did sat down and had a talk with LeVar.
Yep.
And told him, like, look, Lonzo's got to be his own man. Let him take care of Lonzo. You go handle your boys out in Lithuania or do what you got to do. And he kind of has been out there for the most part because you haven't really heard too much about them at all. But side note, LeVar, I think you were wrong again, though, saying that Chino Hills wasn't going to do nothing since your boy left. They won a state championship. So,
Of course they did.
Yeah, but it just shows you, like, man, what a nightmare he was for this team. I feel bad for his kids, though. I really do. It's
been tough, and who knows what's going to come out of this Langelo Ball situation.
Yeah,
I mean, is he really even going to put him in the draft? Is that really going to happen?
Yeah.
It looks that way.
Well, it looks like
they've declared for it.
Yeah, so
which is kind of sad.
Yeah, it is. It is. But on the flip side, he must have a vision for his kids, and I'm hoping that it's their vision as well, not just LeVar Ball's vision, because sometimes parents can live with it through their kids, and that's not their kids' vision.
Yeah.
So, hopefully that LiAngelo and LaMelo are visualizing the same thing, and that's what they want, and that's their goal to shoot for. And to me, I'll go back to this: if that's something they're going to shoot for, look at Andre Ingram. That's a prime example. If I would say this, if LiAngelo doesn't get in this year, I would use Andre Ingram as a blueprint, because that's a guy who did 10 years in the D League/G League, and got his nod, got his opportunity to play in the league, and he took advantage of it. So, to me, that's the blueprint for a lot of these players. Should be a lot of these players, a lot of people out here who are trying to, even outside of basketball.
Yeah.
If it was something else, he's a blueprint of a person who just never gave up and wanted something and shot for it. That's his dream, and he shot for it and he got it. So that's to me a great thing, and hopefully LiAngelo, LaMelo, those guys, if they don't, LaMelo has potential to go. I think going into the league, but LiAngelo, I don't know. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
We need a couple Ingram clones out there. That's what we really need to be able to do. But this is interesting. I think we could turn the page, though.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say we can turn the page on the crazy Ball drama? Yeah, it's probably always going to be there a little bit, but I think they're going in a direction now that it's getting better. And there was a period there where we were floating around the idea, well, is it really worth even having him on this roster?
Yeah.
I think we've moved past that.
Yeah, I think, Magic don't play.
Yeah.
I'm sure Magic said something to him, and that was the end of it. And I think it's like I said, it wasn't Lonzo, but it was more LeVar and the media wanted to stir up stuff, and the media gravitated to him, and they will go to him all the time because they know he'll say some bizarre things. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know if it's over yet, because the next storyline is LiAngelo doesn't get drafted by the Lakers. Is Lonzo going to be gone? Is Lonzo going to go play for the JBA?
Time will tell. This is going to be a fun offseason, though, out here in Los Angeles for the Lakers and for the Clippers, too, because the Clippers are going in a direction that is really unknown. At least the Lakers have more things going their way, and there's more of it's more of a solid foundation that they've built themselves on over the past year or so. The Clippers, there's a lot of unknowns, like I said. So a fascinating offseason coming up here in L.A. As far as going towards the rest of the playoffs here, obviously we continue to follow this game, Denver and Minnesota. 1-point advantage for the Nuggets at the moment as they come up on 140 to play in Minneapolis. Outside of this game, though, the rest of the games tonight across the NBA is just kind of finalizing everything in both conferences, trying to determine our matchups as we head into the postseason this weekend. This has got to be the most exciting regular season finale finishing night that I can remember in a long time. We have a play-in type of game going on in one respect, and there's a lot of different things to kind of tie up with the other teams across both conferences.
Yeah, it's really interesting you said that, Brad, because you look at in the Western Conference especially, you had OKC who wrapped up tonight and they won. But if you look at the standings, and we were talking about this even off the air, it's damn near identical from the 4 seed all the way down. You got Portland that has to win tonight against Utah. Either one of those teams. Portland plays the Pelicans, I believe, right? No, they play Utah. So that's a matchup. They may flip flop, that may flip-flop there, and it depends on all these tiebreakers that are going on. You could potentially Portland could be a 7 seed, depending on the tiebreakers, or you got the Pelicans and probably be a 7 seed. So it's, OKC could possibly be a 4 seed, at the end of it.
It is wild.
It's wild. It's a lot of tiebreakers here. And I went over and I said OKC really only has one tiebreaker, and that's San Antonio. And San Antonio lost today, so they just moved right into updated it. They're now going to be the 7 seed. So it looks like they're going to be playing against right now Golden State. And then you got OKC that moved up to the 6th seed. So to the 6th seed. So it looks like they will face off the winner out of Utah or Portland. What it looks like. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Do you feel any more confident in Houston at this point from anything you saw last night against the Lakers at all, even though it was a meaningless game?
No.
You still feel the same about them?
No. Yeah.
Because they have these bad habits, right?
Yeah. They have bad habits. I'm not a believer in D'Antoni.
How about, by the way, you mentioned D'Antoni. I have to mention this. Total violation to come out and say yesterday that because they've had such a great season and because they've been able to have the best record in franchise history, best positioning heading into the playoffs, if they don't win the championship, it's okay because they've done all the other things.
It's okay. Come on, man.
That's a total violation.
You don't say that. And
he's only doing that because he's scared, Keith.
He's scared, and he knows what the real deal is. That's the bottom line. He knows he can't beat no Golden State in a 7-game series.
Yeah.
That's just not – look, Houston – I'll be honest with you. Houston does not want to play Minnesota. I'll tell you that right now. They do not want to play Minnesota.
And this goes into what you're talking about, how if the Timberwolves can survive tonight, they go into I don't want to say they can play spoiler, but there's a sense that they can gain momentum with this tonight in the playoffs.
Yes, they can. Chris Paul, although they play great, Chris Paul shows up in the playoffs. I get that. James Harden, he shows up.
Arguably, is there more pressure on him than any other player heading into this postseason?
Oh, yeah. There's more pressure on him. Chris Paul, one thing about Chris Paul left the Clippers because the bottom line is he won the championship. He wanted to beat Golden State.
No, I'm talking about Harden.
Oh, Harden?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of pressure on him. I think it's... And I'll go back this way. He needed more help. They got him help. And you got that. He's arguably probably going to be MVP of the league this year. He wants a championship. When you got the number 1 seed and you're 7.5 games ahead of Golden State, the champions, and you beat them already. I think they beat them twice, right, this year?
Yeah.
They run that series. But the bottom line is... that's regular season. Now you get into these playoffs. If they go head-to-head and they meet up with each other, I just can't see – I can see Houston taking them to Game 6, and that's it. But I can't see Golden State losing in the series. They can beat them in a couple games, but not in the series.
Yeah, we agree on this one. We have for a long time. Not a believer in D'Antoni myself. With Harden, to me, this has got to be personal.
It does.
He was embarrassed last year in the playoffs, disappearing against the Spurs. I think that's the biggest thing that everyone across the NBA, in addition to Rocket fans, want to see is him really kind of get pissed off, Keith, this offseason. And just kind of take that and being able to harness it all the way through. That's really what it's going to come down to. If he can't do that, it's a failure of the season for them. And he will continue to get this MO of being a player that great regular season, MVP regular season, but come playoffs, he falls off the map.
Yes.
So this is crucial for him this postseason to really show up. And if they're going to lose ultimately, it can't be because of him or his inability to score and come through in the clutch for them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. My whole thing is with James Harden. If you get MVP, there's a lot of pressure on you now because all the eyes are on you.
Mm-hmm.
He does have a history of fading in the playoffs. He's not a great postseason player. He'll show up in some games, but he's not a great postseason player. And when you have that, that's what it's about. It's about the postseason. So I would just say that it will be interesting. They fought away from OKC. They wanted to stay away from OKC, which they did by beating OKC. They lost to OKC, but they luckily OKC moved up and they're happy about that. But you don't want to face the Minnesota Timberwolves. I can't see them sweeping Minnesota. Those are two. You got 3 All-Stars on that team. Also an MVP who's been an MVP before the league, who's coming back, and they got some great players. They can match up to Houston really well. They can guard the perimeter, and it probably looks like they're going to beat Denver.
Yes, it does. Denver had a chance to tie just a second ago. They missed a shot from point-blank range. Minnesota's got the ball now. They're going to go to the free throw line and could seal it, ultimately, if he makes both of them. So, yes, I agree with you. Minnesota, this is a team that should not have been in this predicament tonight. They should have taken care of business earlier. But sometimes it's somewhat of a wake-up call at the end of the day. And if you're able to get in, sometimes that's all it takes to be able to make some noise once you get into the postseason against whoever you're matched up against. So we shall see. But the Western Conference obviously is very, very interesting. Just seeing how all these different things play out. Like you said, Keith, OKC, there's still a lot of firepower there with Westbrook, Paul George, everything else they're able to do. And the Pelicans are somewhat of a wild card in the sense that we know Anthony Davis can score. By the way, how awesome was that dunk from him the other night?
Rajon Rondo is always a problem in the playoffs. And let me tell you something.
Was that the play of the year, maybe? The dunk of the year?
Possibly.
Man, that was something else.
But that is going to be a battle if Portland has to go against or Utah has to go against. I can see the Pelicans. The Pelicans are a team, I don't know what team will have to face them in the playoffs. If they had Boogie Cousins, I would see them they would probably be at the top.
Yeah.
Top 3 for sure. But Rajon and his playmaking, and not his scoring ability, but his passing ability and the way he sees the floor, he just disrupts a lot of things and can disrupt the player. And, that's going to be a tough thing. It's going to be a tough task if they have to face like Damian Lillard, or they got to go to Utah and they got to face Donovan Mitchell. That's going to be those teams. It's going to be a nightmare to play against the Pelicans because, Anthony Davis is good. This is Anthony Davis' first time in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's for his first time. I know he's going to go hard. I'm very excited to see the New Orleans Pelicans back in the playoffs. And it's going to. I want to see what's going. Also, what's going to be interesting about this Western Conference Finals is San Antonio Spurs. Just 2 years ago, they were on the brinks of beating Golden State. Remember that? And
oh yeah,
there was on the brinks of beating. What was it? Yeah, was it 2 years ago? It was 2 years ago. And then Kawhi Leonard, he's not playing this year, but can they rebound? Can they kind of bounce back and give Golden State a run for their money? Because it's really an even playing field now. The fact that Steph Curry's out for the, it could.
It is, and it looks like he is definitely going to be out for the first round. There's no question about that at this point. There was a little bit before, but yeah, it's more of an even playing field. But what's your answer for Kevin Durant?
There's no answer for Kevin Durant.
That's the thing. And I don't think, with that being said, it's hard enough to beat them. Yeah. But to factor in San Antonio and all the question marks they've had this year, I don't think so. I honestly would be surprised if they pushed it to 6.
Really?
Yeah, at this point in time, I do. They're just, a lot of it, I think, is they're running off of reputation and how good Pop can be as a coach, and Stu is. But just too many question marks down there with them. And there's just been so much uncertainty all year. I find it hard to believe that they would conjure together a great effort here in the first round and really push Golden State, even without Curry. We all know Golden State is still very, very deep.
They have a deep team, and a lot of their players even play when they, Iggy was sitting out. David West was sitting out a couple of games. They added in addition to Swaggy P, and he's actually played well for them. They're going to be tough to beat. Livingston was out some good games.
This is what I'm saying.
Got Jordan Bell coming back. Oh, and he shoot a three. Oh, he missed it. Not so much March Madness for
for Denver.
For Denver, right?
Yeah, it looks like Minnesota's probably going to hold on here.
That was a wide open three too.
Yeah, it was, and
wide open.
had a great look at it, but just could not find the bottom of the net. So it looks like, Minnesota's going to hold on here, and a valiant effort though by a Nuggets team who really played well down the stretch.
Hey, I totally agree with you. This was so exciting about today, as you see in these teams and the matchups, or you're going to see what's going to happen with them throughout this season. You watched them and how everybody was talking about how identical the records were like in the last 3 weeks, and now it comes down really to the last game of the season, and wow. Way to end your season right here. And it's a must-win. This next game coming up, Brad, Utah and Portland, is a must-win. It's a must-win for both of these teams.
It absolutely is. It's so big with these playoff positioning seedings going forward here. It counts at the very end, and that's what you have to love. The NBA has to be loving this from a ratings perspective because it has just been dull the last couple of years, at the end of the regular season, even going back further than that, trying to kind of conjure up a good storyline or two during the last couple of days before the postseason began. To have this tonight is really good for the NBA and obviously really good for the ratings. And you really couldn't ask for anything better at this point in time. Like you said, there's a lot to play for. I think the big winner tonight, though, so far, as we kind of take a look at the Eastern Conference now, besides Minnesota, as they're seemingly going to hold on to beat Denver here, as I said before, it's got to be the Sixers. The Sixers, that blowout victory tonight was huge, because they'll be locked into the 3 seed, number one, and also the fact that they avoid playing Cleveland and Toronto potentially in consecutive series leading up unto the Eastern Conference Finals. So that was huge for them to avoid that. What are your thoughts on the Sixers at this point in time? It looks like Embiid's going to come back.
Yeah, Joel Embiid's going to come back. First, I really wasn't a believer in the 76ers. They're a very talented group. They have some great veterans on that team as well. They've been the hottest team in the East since I have to say since Boston kind of lost Kyrie.
Yeah.
And they've been the more deep to me out of everybody in the East. They're the deepest team in the East. They're the deepest. The bench, everything. They got a lot of players that can show up play. The question is, can these guys show up in the playoffs? Can Ben Simmons be first time in the playoffs? And let's just be quite frank. There's a beast in the East called LeBron James, and everybody know who he is, and he's a problem. In playoffs. I don't care what team you cannot count him out. They're still 4 seed. If they was even the 8th seed, people would still say they go into the Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just be quite frank. But
they could play every game on the road in the Eastern Conference leading up to the finals, Keith, and they would probably still be favored in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. But to me, Toronto has to be smiling like, yes, this will probably be our shot. We'll probably see something different this year. I will say this. We possibly can see the 76ers in the championship. In the finals.
And the crazy thing is, who would have been thinking that? Who would have thought that on opening night?
I know, right? Because they could beat Toronto,
Yeah, we've seen that.
Boston, let's say the addition of the reason Boston has a great win record. They got Jason Tatum. They still got Brown over there. But the bottom line is the addition of you losing Kyrie and Gordon Hayward kind of puts a damper on your seat. They started off hot, and they really just those guys kind of just coasted the rest of the East, the rest of the season. When those guys went down, they kind of just coasted. Kyrie held it up for him a little bit, but now he's officially not going to be returning. It's just set up for somebody like Philly. I'm interested to see what the Patriots are going to do, to be honest with you. I haven't really watched them this season, too many games this season, but what I've noticed is they've been on they lost They lost one game, but they had a good winning streak going for a while before they lost that last game.
They're 7-3 in their last 10.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at. I'm interested to see what those guys do, and then you're going to see a hilarious matchup with LeBron and Lance Stevenson.
That is going to be good.
That's going to be good to see. So it's going to be great to see those teams. Toronto, if those guys show up, if Kyle Lowry shows up in the playoffs this year, then I can see them going. But I can Philly to me, next to Cleveland, Philly's one of the favorites. But we can possibly see them in the finals.
In the playoffs, in any sport, you know me, I always go with experience over inexperience. I think it matters so much. LeBron obviously brings that with this Cavs team trying to get back to the finals once again. Philly is this young upstart team who has really bursted onto the scene here recently, Keith. Like you said, in recent weeks, really playing solid basketball. They're going to be locked into the 3 seed. It's just going to be very, very interesting. Like you said, guys like Ben Simmons, how do they adjust to the next season?
You know what's
in the postseason? That is the biggest thing. Is Embiid going to come back fully healthy, or is there going to be a little bit of a nagging injury?
Yeah.
Can Markelle Fultz contribute? There's just not these constants there yet.
Yeah.
We know there's a constant with LeBron. We know the Warriors' constant is Kevin Durant, and it's the depth of the team, even without Curry for a small period of time. Yeah. Toronto is really the interesting case because, like you said, this should be their year in the Eastern Conference.
And they know that.
They know that. It should be.
They've dropped the ball so many times. I mean, it doesn't get no better than this for them, and it doesn't get any better. You're a 1 seed, and you're going to coast. You're basically going to coast through. You're going to probably see LeBron in semifinal? Or not in a quarterfinal. That's what they'll probably see LeBron in the quarterfinal because they're going to play the 8th seed. After you play 8, you're probably going to play the winner out of 4 and 5.
Correct.
And so
they'll see him in the second round.
They'll see him in the second round, and you can't drop the ball. You got to seal the deal.
That's going to be a monster series.
Yes, it's going to be a monster series. So you know what the key is for Toronto is not messing around, and you got to end it quick. You got to get Washington Wizards out quick. It's the same thing with Golden State in their situation. There's a 7-game series this year throughout the whole thing. They got to get as much rest as possible, get those guys rest up, get Steph Curry back in the line so he can get some practices in with them. So they got to go out there and sweep San Antonio and try to sweep them, And that's going to be a tough task because San Antonio's going to put up a fight. They're going to put up a fight. So, but they got to go out there and look to sweep.
112-106, by the way, was the final Minnesota over Denver. So the Wolves officially punched their ticket as the 8th seed in the Western Conference, taking on the Houston Rockets, obviously. And what will be an interesting series and all the pressure in the world on this Rockets team to really take care of business and to prove a lot of people wrong. Minnesota playing with house money at this point in time. We'll see what they're able to do. In the East, though, this is going to be very interesting to see how it plays out here. Do you have any confidence at all in seeds 5 through 8 that they can push any team in the first round, whoever they're going to play?
Miami, I can see Miami doing something against Boston. Miami's going to beat, let's say, put it like this. Well, Miami's got to play Philly.
Right.
So
can Miami win 2 games?
Yeah. They can win 2 games against Philly, for sure. And they got Dwayne Wade and their experience right there.
Yep.
It all depends on how these guys play. Miami's a dangerous team. And I'll say this. The Washington Wizards is a dangerous team, too. They got the 8th seed against Toronto. Don't think John Wall and Bradley Beal and those boys can't show up, That's a matchup right there.
You think so? Still, going into the season, Washington was a team.
Issues.
Yeah, they've been a disappointment.
They have been. They were the top 3 seed. They were the number 3 seed, and they jumped all the way down to the 8th seed. So the Bucks is just teeter off. Them getting blown out the way they did. They're an athletic team. I would expect it. I can say the Bucks can possibly upset the Boston Celtics. even though they got blown out, they
Yeah.
probably knew they was like, look, we got the 7 seed lock. Let's forget it, whatever. I can see that. I can see them. I can see them beating Boston Celtics for the simple fact that you don't have a Gordon Hayward, you don't have a Kyrie Irving. Oh, I forgot Marcus Smart's out too. So
you almost feel bad for Boston
Yeah.
a little bit.
You do. So I can see Milwaukee getting something together and beat upsetting them. And Washington Wizards, you got to look out for. Look, 6, 7, and 8 seed have potential to upset the top tier teams. They have potential to upset Toronto. They have potential to upset Boston. Have potential to upset Philly. The only team that ain't getting upset is Cleveland is not losing in the Indiana Pacers. I cannot see that happening.
Be a shocker of all shockers.
Exactly.
If you saw that one go down. I would agree. I haven't really seen Indiana much play this year either, Keith, and obviously with Oladipo there, and they've played better down the stretch. There's somewhat of an unknown, and that to me is the theme of these playoffs. There's just so many unknowns, like I was saying a moment ago, and that's what makes it interesting and very compelling. I'm very excited to see all these matchups in both conferences. It's somewhat on an equal playing field, sort of say. There's not one conference to me that's more dominant. Yes, the Western Conference has played better this season and is more deeper than the East. But when it comes down to it, there's just as many unknowns in the West with a lot of these teams than there is in the East. Outside of Golden State and obviously Cleveland, we haven't seen other teams being able to break through and make it to the championship round in quite a long time. So we'll see if it happens this year. I know you like Toronto to break through and come out of the East.
Yeah.
I'm kind of still going with Cleveland and Golden State until I see someone beat them. Until I see someone beat them, I have to go with them. I just think LeBron is too much, as we all know. And
he's a man amongst boys.
It doesn't matter if he had one leg. He would still have a leg up. No pun intended. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Like I said, the theme is the unknowns. And when you have that, usually that means in sports that it favors the teams and players with the most experience.
Let me ask you this. What series out of all the series, Western East, is the one you keep your eye on the first round?
That's a very good question. That is a very good question. I'm really intrigued. I'll give you one in both. Out west, I'm intrigued by the Pelicans and Anthony Davis, and Rajon Rondo, what they're able to do. Even though there's no Boogie Cousins, they're still a formidable opponent to anybody, whoever they're going to play. If they play Portland, I think that would be a very exciting series.
Yeah.
I think that would be very exciting. For a first-round series in the NBA playoffs, I would really like to see that. There'd be a lot of good storylines there. Damian Lillard, what he's been able to do for Portland this season, that to me would be very, very intriguing. Houston, Minnesota, that doesn't do much for me because Houston should win that big. And if they don't, it's a total choke job. Yeah. So to me, in the West, I think if it is Portland, New Orleans, I would really like to see that one. In the Eastern Conference, I think Sixers, Miami.
Yes.
That's very, very intriguing. Like you said, especially with Dwayne Wade being back there. If he doesn't get traded at the deadline from Cleveland to Miami, you don't give it two thoughts.
Yeah.
And they're probably not even in the position they are now.
And I believe Hassan Whiteside is coming back, right? I believe so.
That's the last I heard. Yes, he will be coming back.
He'll be coming back, and so that plays a little different there. Those Miami guys out there, I can see them upset. I'm really going to be watching that 3-6 seed in Philadelphia, Miami Heat, and then out west. I'm going to really play close attention to. I'll be honest, I'm going to play close attention to this Houston Rockets Minnesota series.
Okay,
and the reason why is because Tom Thibodeau is a defensive coach.
He is.
He's not an offensive coach, and he's a great defensive coach. There's really the ball doesn't move a lot. People's like, oh, the ball moves with Houston. It really doesn't. It's really at a standstill. It has to go through two guys, Paul Pierce and James Harden. They'll get Eric Gordon back, which would be great. They all can knock down the threes. But one thing about so dangerous, they can shoot you in, they can shoot themselves out.
You see it all the time.
You see it all the time. One thing is frustrating to me about James Harden and watching James Harden is James Harden gets to the free throw line like 80% of the time. Most of his points are from the free throw line. Let's be quite frank. So if they can figure out a way, and they need to take a picture, take a example out of what Golden State typically does. When he drives to the basket, they kind of just have their hands straight up. They don't go down and swipe. If they can do that, take a page out of that and have him off, he's off, then look, they have a shot. They definitely have the players and experience to get past Houston. So it would be interesting to see how that series goes. I think ultimately Houston will win the series, but I don't think they'll sweep Timberwolves.
Playoffs begin this weekend. We can't wait for it here on Behind Mike. Lakers finishing up their season tonight against the Clippers at Staples. Currently, it's 22-21. Make it 24-21 Lakers on top as they come up on just under 5 minutes to play in the first quarter in that one. Kings are in action tonight, Game 1 of their best-of-7 first-round series against the Golden Knights out of Las Vegas. That game taking place at the T-Mobile Arena. It's 1-0 Vegas on top at the first intermission. The earlier games tonight in the NHL playoffs, Winnipeg defeated Minnesota 3-2, and Pittsburgh, in resounding fashion, shut out Philadelphia 7-0. We're going to take a break here on Behind the Mic. On the other side, we're going to speak with Vincent Page from HaloHangout.com, talk a little Angels. They've been the best team here in LA, baseball-wise, over the past week or so to kick off this 2018 season. We'll talk everything Angels-related with Vincent after the break, including Shohei Ohtani, the injuries to the pitching rotation, and how good this offense has been as well, as they've already put up 5 runs tonight in currently a 5-1 lead over Texas in the 8th inning. So Vincent coming up after the break. This is Behind the Mic. We're live, Brad and Keith from Grunions Sports Bar Grill over in Manhattan Beach.
Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Beyond all the hospitals and doctors and surgeries they need just to survive, they also deserve whatever they need to truly live. All the in-home care and day-to-day help they need to live independently, on their own terms. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs were established to provide these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence, at no cost, for life. So many of them need us, and it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Find out how you can do your part at findwwp.org.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. St. Jude takes care of absolutely everything. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge.
St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude is uniquely positioned to advance the cures of pediatric cancer, I think better than any other institution in the world. The contributions make a big difference.
Donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. We have the resources and we have the focus. And so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? Shifting to a system based on primary care can help fix the problem. Patients with a primary care doctor live longer, healthier lives and are less likely to suffer from cancer, heart disease, or stroke. Primary care that is comprehensive and coordinated also saves money. Patients who have a primary care doctor spend 30% less on health care than patients who don't. States with a high number of primary care doctors have lower health care costs and higher quality care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
You're listening to Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
Take us with you on the go wherever you may be. Download the official Behind the Mic app today to your smartphone. Check out our podcast on iHeartRadio and listen online at BehindTheMicShow.com. Welcome back, Behind the Mic. We're at Grunions on Wednesday evenings, as always. Brad and Keith hanging out. Lots of NBA talk tonight, the final night of the NBA regular season. The postseason gets underway this weekend. The Stanley Cup Finals, they have dropped the puck tonight officially in the NHL with that. The Kings are in action right now in Vegas, taking on the Golden Knights. It's 1-0 Vegas at the moment as they get ready to start the second period from the T-Mobile Arena. We're going to switch gears now and talk a little Major League Baseball. About 2 weeks now, roughly, Keith. We're into this brand new 2018 season. It's been a little bit up and down for the Dodgers. The team, though, that has had the best success has been the Los Angeles Angels, as they have gotten off to their best start at 9-3 here since 1987. They've been hitting the cover off the baseball. Really good timely hitting within the first couple of weeks here. The pitching has been a bit of a work in progress, you could say. As we talk more about this now, as we bring in Vincent Page. He's a contributor for HaloHangout.com, a part of Fansided. As we bring him officially on the line now here at Behind the Mic. Vincent, how are things going tonight? We appreciate the time.
It's going well. How are you?
We are great, diving into a very busy world of sports here on this Wednesday evening. As I said at the outset, there's so much going on. It's a great night for the sports fan. Baseball now, it's starting to get into the fact that, we're 2 weeks into the season. Players are getting more accustomed to the daily routine of getting up, getting into the ballpark, and either getting into the batter's box or onto the pitching mound. And for some really lucky few players, some are experiencing success at both, Vincent, and I would, of course, be referring to one Shohei Ohtani, who has lived up to expectations so far here in 2018. It was a rough spring training for him, as we all know, but as I've learned covering sports here in my young career, don't pay too much attention to the preseason or spring training, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter too much. Don't put too much stock in it. Once the regular season begins, that's when you really have to start paying attention, obviously. And Ohtani has been fantastic. I just don't know if he's been more impressive at the plate or the pitching mound. I can't decide. If you can kind of pick one word, Vincent, to sum up these first couple of weeks with the Angels and with Ohtani's success, what would it be?
I think one word that just perfectly describes is phenom. He's everything that Angels fans, the team has hoped for and more, especially after Randy team coming like this is really special. It's something we haven't seen as Angels fans since Mike Trout did.
Wow.
It's been a long time, and
Yeah.
you mentioned Trout. What can you say about him? He's been phenomenal himself. He's already hit a couple home runs this year. He signed a ball for a fan last night in Texas. He continues to be his usual all-star self. What has been more impressive for you, though, Vincent? Has it been Ohtani? Has it been him pitching, or has it been him at the plate? 2 wins so far on the mound, as you know, in 2 starts. He took a perfect game into the 7th inning this past Sunday, and he won on Easter Sunday, his first debut. And at the plate, he's just been just as impressive. The guy's hit a couple home runs, and he looks like he's been playing for 15 years. Your take?
Yeah, it's hard to say which one he's been more impressive at so far. I think long-term pitch is where he's going to make his mark. But so far, a perfect into the 7th inning. I was there at Angel Stadium Sunday, and the electricity in the stadium is something that hasn't really felt there in a while. And as soon as he got through that first inning where he struck out the side, you could tell something special was going on. But on the offensive side, hitting 3 runs to start off his career at Angel Stadium, that was really special. And if I had to take one, I'd take his pitching, because he's probably the one player in the Angels organization that truly brings that #1 possible Cy Young contender every year potential to the table, and he's shown that so far.
Hey, Vincent, I have a question for you, just to stay on Ohtani right now. We were told that, at first the Angels were going to kind of work Ohtani in slow, that type of thing, and then now you're starting to see what he's doing already. Do you change that and really just let him go now, for the simple fact that he's doing better? He's blown everyone out the water, what he's capable of doing, from the pitching to the batting. Is this the type of guy where you just kind of just let him go and let him play like the Dodgers did with Yasiel Puig eventually when he first came into the league? Or do they still stick with we're going to continue to work him in slowly?
I'm sorry, man, I can't hear you too well. Do you mind repeating that?
I was saying that, staying on Ohtani has been playing. He's been playing well, and I wanted to find out from you, and it's just your opinion. We were told that Ohtani was going to be worked in slow this year from the Angels organization. They're going to work him in slow, but what he's been doing the last couple of games, from the pitching mound to the batting. Is he the type of guy where you just need to honestly just let him go and let him play rather than work him in slowly like they used to do, what the Dodgers did with Yasiel Puig when he first came into the league?
So it looks like we lost Vincent here momentarily.
Yeah.
It is interesting, though, Keith, because Ohtani is a player that, you're right, we talked with Mark Gubis, the Fox Sports analyst, during spring training a couple months ago now, actually, and that's exactly what he mentioned. He mentioned that they wanted to work him in slowly, like you said, and I feel like that was somewhat of the company line they wanted to go by, and because you just don't know, obviously, especially a guy who comes over from a different country who's played professionally over there. You don't know what the case may be. But you're seeing now a guy who is very comfortable. I think that's the biggest thing. He's comfortable in his role on the team, which is amazing to me. A guy who comes over in his first year from playing in another country already knows the role in this team. And it's not like this is a normal day, everyday thing where you have a guy who pitches on Sundays and then bats throughout the week. We don't see this all the time, but he seems to be very comfortable in it at the get-go, again, which has just been very impressive to me. To me, honestly, what I've seen so far, I think he will evolve into a better pitcher than batter, at least in the near future, because of how dominant he is. His splitter was just rolling on Sunday when he took that perfect game into the 7th, like I said, against Oakland. He's got a really nasty splitter. He has great command on the mound. and he's got a good arsenal of pitches he can go to potentially. And I get it. It was Oakland, and they're one of the worst teams in the league so far.
Yeah.
But still, it's a fact that this is a team that is able to rally around him with other players, and they've had their injury problems, which we can get into in just a second. But players seem to know their role for the most part. And I think we have Vincent back with us now on the line. Vincent, we're just talking about here, obviously talking about Shohei Ohtani and his ability to be successful for this team at the plate and on the mound. I think what Keith was alluding to before, and his question to you was, we talked with Mark Gubicza, actually, Gooby from Fox Sports West, the color analyst for the Los Angeles Kings, before the season, during spring training, and he was alluding to the fact that they wanted to really work him in to the lineup, work him into the starting rotation. They wanted to ease him into that process, but it looks like he's come out guns a-blazing here out of the gates. What is your take on that and the balance that this team's had to do as far as easing him into the season and kind of letting him give him the full reins, so to say?
I think everything about Ohtani, I think the Angels are kind of cautious with him right now just because what he's doing, that hasn't been done in over 100 years. And one thing about that, it's hard to look even to next week with Ohtani, when he's going to make the next start or play at the plate. And they're really just taking it one day at a time right now. And I think that's the best way to do it as the team, go day by day with him. And I think as fans, we kind of just have to enjoy every time he takes the field, because playing those guys is something special, but who knows if he can do it for 5 years or 10 years or, however long he's in the league. And so I really think that the Angels are playing it smart, going cautious with him, and I think it's going to pay dividends years down the line.
How much do you attribute, Vincent, the fact that batters just haven't gotten used to him yet when he's on the mound, let's say, and they just haven't been able to adjust to what he's doing? Is it part in that? Are we giving him too much credit? Or maybe we're not giving him enough credit in the fact that he's got some really good stuff. I was talking to Keith before about his splitter and how nasty of a pitch that has been in his first 2 starts. How do you balance that out? How much do you put in the corner of batters still have to figure him out, and how much do you put in the other corner of this guy is the real deal here on the mound?
I wouldn't discredit it too much. I know hitters not having his film, it's like this game is so modern now. Obviously that plays a part in it, but you also have to take into account that in a new country, he's pitched better players than he's ever pitched to. And you have to look at his pitches. His fastball hits triple digits, and his splitter is already one of the best strikeout pitches in baseball. And obviously, as the season goes on, he's going to have some growing pains. Hitters get accustomed to him. But in his second start, he pitched against Oakland for the second time that year. So obviously, those batters have seen him already, and he was able to pitch a perfect game into the 7th inning. So I wouldn't just credit what he did too much. I don't think he could do what he did on Sunday every time he plays, but I think we can expect consistently well above average pitching from Ohtani.
We're talking with Vincent Page. He's a contributor for HaloHangout.com, a part of Fansided. Let's talk about the rotation now, Vincent. Obviously, today was a big day for the rotation in itself. They called up Mr. Jaime Barria from the minor leagues. He came up today, and he pitched well. Right now it's 5-1, Angels with the lead in the 9th inning over the Rangers down in Texas. This is a rotation that has gotten hit by the injury bug, to say the least, at the beginning of the season. It was announced at the beginning of the week that J.C. Ramirez is going to be out for the year. He's got to get Tommy John surgery. You already have guys like Shoemaker on the disabled list as well. How much are they going to rely on Ohtani and Garrett Richards here at the beginning of the season to carry this rotation through this injury period?
I think we're going to be relying on Ohtani and Richards a lot, especially, the further into the season we go, even though Ohtani, he hasn't pitched this many innings as he would pitch ever. And but one thing the Angels is, even though we were planning to go to a 6-man rotation, we did have a handful of guys competing for those last few spots. We saw Parker Bridwell get roughed up in his first start this season, but even he had a really great year last year for the Angels. And Oakland's always been a team he struggled against. And with Berea today, you saw he has a very good combination with that fastball and changeup. And one thing with the Angels pitchers in general this has been command. They've been a lot of batters, but I think a lot of that is rust and still being the grind of the season. As we go into it, Garrett Richards, Tyler Skaggs, I think those three guys are going to be pretty good first three guys in the rotation. And I'm cautiously optimistic in the rest of the rotation right now.
Hey, Vincent, I have a question. Knowing that, the Los Angeles Angels right now, they're in the AL West standings. They're in first place. Houston's right behind them, who were the World Series champs from this past season. Do they have something to worry about with the Houston Astros? Do they have to be worried about the Angels right now? Do you think? I know it's early in the season, but does it kind of like raise an eyebrow, or they're looking over their shoulder to say, "Hey, we may have some competition here"? Do they have to? Is this a team that they need to keep their eye on throughout the whole season, or do you think it's just something that, hey, they just this Los Angeles Angels have the wave going right now and they're just riding it? But do you think the Houston Astros should be worried or no?
I mean, the Astros have the most talented roster in baseball. I don't think that's much of a question, but I mean, over 162 games during the season, I think it's possible. And I think we're finally seeing, when you surround Mike Trout, he had a slow start to the year. He had 4 runs, but he's batting below 250 right now. Surround Mike Trout with a talented roster, Zach Cozart, and even guys off like Jeffrey Marte and Ryan Schimpf, they've made time plays when they've had to play. When you surround him with talent like this, we're going to score a lot of runs, and they're leading the league in runs right now. And we've seen a handful of toppers so far this year. And I don't know if they're talented Astros all the way down the line, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Angels are less than 3 games back from the All-Star game.
Once again, we're talking with Vincent Page from HaloHangout.com. The official line today for Jaime Berea in his major league debut was 5 innings pitched. He gave up 1 hit, 1 earned run, struck out 3. Not too bad. He gave up a home run, but in all said there, that was a good debut for him coming into a tough spot here. The bullpen has really been worked a lot so far, Vincent, this year. Is fatigue a concern with the bullpen specifically being used so much in just the first 2 weeks of the season?
Yeah, no, it is concerning, especially because of what we saw last year. The Angels ended up top 7. The bullpen was ranked 6th or 7th here at the end of the year, but we saw a lot of late inning collapse in the second half of the season. There were 2 separate times where we lost on grand slams in the 9th inning, and the bullpen already being overworked this much. It's very, I think, because we saw it last year, and we have a lot of young arms coming to the bullpen. The bullpen has been ridiculous so far. They've been shutting out games. They've hit 7 innings in some games, but if they can't keep being worked like this, otherwise they're going to run into problems further down the line. Bullpen's probably the biggest question right now. If they keep getting worked like this, it's going to be concerning.
And the injury bug has not stopped short of pitching, Vincent, as we know. It's also extended into the lineup. Ian Kinsler, he suffered a groin injury at the end of spring training. They put him on the DL at the beginning of the season after appearance in 1 game. He's expected to be activated from the DL tomorrow. Is he ready to go? He jokingly said yesterday, I believe, that he could have came off the DL earlier this week, but he wanted to give Ohtani more at-bats. Should we be concerned at all about Kinsler, or should he be ready to go once he comes off tomorrow?
I think he'll be ready to go when he comes off tomorrow. Everything I've seen so far says the Angels are planning to use him as their leadoff batter again, which bodes confidence for him, I trust. And everyone's been expecting a bounce-back season from Kinsler. I think we can still see that despite him missing the first 2 weeks.
Zach
He's just going to be another addition to this offense of scoring all these runs. I don't think defense will be a problem with the injury. I think he's ready to go.
It's a long time coming, Vincent, for this Angels offense to put it all together. Keith and I were talking about this extensively a couple weeks ago when we did our season preview. Angels and the Dodgers here in Los Angeles. We knew the Dodgers were going to be able to hit the ball well. We hope they'll still hit the ball well later on this season. But the Angels, for them to put it all together here, we've been waiting on this for a long time with guys like Trout coming together with the addition of Upton in the outfield. Pujols coming up with some good hits here at the twilight of his career. And you added in the mix some other guys in the lineup, of course, with Ohtani as well. They're finally putting runs on the board. My question to you is, can they sustain this all year? Because on paper, as long as they stay healthy, with Kinsler coming back tomorrow and such, they should be able to do it. How do you see it playing out?
I think we can definitely sustain it the entire season. Because, I mean, going into today's game, the two regular starters with the lowest batting on the team were Cole Calhoun and Mike Trout. And, I mean, when those two guys are your lowest in batting average, the entire team has to keep playing, which the Angels have done so far. And when Mike Trout and Cole Calhoun start going, the entire offense is going to reach a level that I don't know if we've seen yet. You know, last week, in that Oakland-Cleveland series, we saw Mike Trout, Zach Cozart at the top of the lineup struggling. Justin Upton playing really well, and we were able to keep winning the game. And so I think this offense is kind of like a next man up mentality. Even when we have two or three guys in a little bit of a slump, the rest of the lineup has been very good at picking up the slack so far. And I think that's something that we could do all year.
Mike Trout, Vincent, just getting back to Mike Trout, what do we see different from Mike Trout from last year to this year? You know, is it his defense this year that he's more focused? You think he's more focused on this year because offensively he's a force to be reckoned with. Let's just call it what it is. But is it his defense that he really focused on? You think this spring training and coming in this year, is this just the same Mike Trout we are so used to seeing?
Yeah, I think Mike Trout focused a lot of the offseason on his defense because he's one of the only Angels position players that hasn't Gold Glove yet. And, I mean, a lot of that is the AL having a great center fielder. But, you know, his defense has slacked off a couple of years. He takes almost perfect routes, line drives, fly balls. But his arm has never been even though it's been above average. And I think he's really taken his defense seriously. And on the offensive side, we've seen him go from this guy that could just hit home runs and have a batting average above 300, but strike out a lot, to a Joey Votto-like bat who has amazing plate and he rarely swings the balls out of the zone, and when he does, he usually puts the ball in play. And I think we're truly seeing Mike Trout take a huge step towards becoming an even better baseball player, even though he's already the best.
The intriguing thing about Shohei Ohtani, Vincent, is also the fact that obviously he's pitching, he's batting as well. My question to you is, how long is Mike Scioscia committed to sticking with this schedule that he's on? He pitches on Sunday, presumably on a regular basis. They don't play him. They sit him on the day before his start and the day after. There's going to come a point in time, if he continues to hit the ball really well, that Scioscia's got to make a decision. He's going to continue to keep him out of the lineup for 3 consecutive days when they can maybe use him in there at a DH position, potentially, and ability to create some pop for them in the lineup. But how long is Scioscia, in your opinion, committed to this schedule?
So on the day of pitching, I don't see him ever using Ohtani to hit. Just because if you give up that role, you're have to the entire game. And I don't think they want to be in that position where they have their relievers coming into bat or using their bench like that. And then the day before, I think that's looking for Shohei to get into the zone as a pitcher, not just as a baseball player, but as a pitcher who wants to be an ace of the league. But the day after, obviously that's really important for injury. But over the offseason, we saw Mike Scioscia say, on those days, after he pitches, maybe see him pinch hit or pinch run. So I don't know if this season, at least, it's ever going to become, him throwing 7 innings of 2-hit baseball one day and then the next starting and hitting a home run. But I wouldn't be surprised further in, maybe not this month or May, but in June, July maybe, once he's really kind of found his role and everything. I wouldn't be surprised to see him being used off the bench consistently on his off base.
Well, if the offense continues to play as well as they are consistently, up 7-1 tonight right now, they won't have to worry about Ohtani getting him in certain positions at all. The team itself will take care of it. Once again, his name is Vincent Page. He covers the Angels for HaloHangout.com. Follow him on Twitter at VincentPage74. Hey, Vincent, we really appreciate the time tonight. Again, the Angels, after their best start in a long, long time, we hope they keep it up, and we hope to speak with you again sometime down the line.
Sounds good to me. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Vincent. You got it, man. Take care.
Have a good one.
There he goes once again. Vincent Page, contributor from HaloHangout.com, a part of FanSided, with the insight there and all the up-to-speed news with the Los Angeles Angels and with their hot start here, hot at the plate. That's what we were talking about. They have the pop to do it. It was just a matter of could they put it together. They've done that, and thankfully they have, because pitching is a bit of a sore spot for him at the moment with the injuries and the rotation like we talked about with Vincent, and the bullpen just getting overworked here. So if they can continue to get these runs on a consistent basis night in and night out until the pitching gets healthy again, they should be all right. But to me, the big thing is with Ohtani, like I was asking Vincent there, is that schedule that he's on. Are they really going to sit him 3 days in a row as far as the lineup goes? He pitches on the middle day, but Scioscia has said that they're committed to keeping him out of the lineup the day before and the day after, which makes sense. Yeah. But at the end, I mean, if he's hitting so well and just as good as he's pitching, they're going to have to choose one or another, and that will be very interesting to see how they go down.
Well, you
that.
don't want to. You're certainly right, but you got to pick your poison too with that, because here you have a star in the making, and he's on a hot streak, and you want to, I think, keep at a regular routine for somebody, because he's pitching. You don't want to wear him out. He's throwing heat right now, and you don't want to wear his arm out. You want to save that. You want to me, if they have him running to the playoffs, and maybe this was a situation that's running to the playoffs, and they were a game back or 2 games back, and they go off schedule or whatever, then you do what you gotta do. But it's too early in the season. A lot of stuff can happen. It's we're in April right now, and a lot of stuff can happen. So you have to play it smart. You have to just you have to work them in slow. I know fans and everybody out there is all excited about what he's been doing so far, and but to me, I think the Angels, like Vincent said, they're playing it smart by just easing them in. It's just kind of keeping them at the same schedule. And look, they're sitting in first place. They're still doing well. They're hitting. They're batting well right now. And you got to give those other guys that opportunity. Like, who's going to step up? Because some of these guys may not come back. You just don't know. Some re-injuries can happen. So you want to get those guys ready too as well. So I think you got to hold them back. I think so. I think you have to hold Ohtani back, sit him for the days, and kind of like just ease into it, because you don't want to wear this guy out. He's a star in the making. He's basically your franchise player. Let's just call it what it is. Mike Trout and him would be the face. They're going to be the face of the Angels.
We talked about how this team really needed to make the postseason this year, and it looks like they're on track for that, although it's very early, like you said. It was a playoff type of atmosphere down there in Anaheim this past Sunday when he was pitching. Like I said, perfect game going into the 7th inning. It was an atmosphere that you haven't seen probably since they won the World Series in the early 2000s. So it's been a very, very long time. It's good to see because that's a loyal fan base down there, has been for a very, very long time. They always come out game in and game out, and now they have such an exciting phenomenon in Ohtani that it's just good to see it. And by the way, tonight, Cole Calhoun, another big game. Vincent was talking about the right fielder. 3 hits, a couple of RBIs. Ohtani with an RBI himself this evening. Zach Cozart with a hit. He's done a good job filling in for Ian Kinsler at second base, and Trout has scored a run tonight as well. Really, Justin Upton is the one guy in the lineup that really hasn't gotten it going with the bat yet in left field. Again, it is early, but Pujols has been able to get some hits, which has been he continues to swing the bat very well for a guy who's in the twilight of his career. Albert Pujols has had some big hits to start off this 2018 season, and everyone else throughout the lineup as well. They've done a good job of contributing to these runs and a lot of these big blowouts this year and big wide margin of victories. 7-1 right now, just an out away from beating the Rangers down in Texas. Meanwhile, the Dodgers trail Oakland 6-1 over at Dodger Stadium. The Angels won last night as they're finishing up a quick 2-game series against the Oakland A's as they begin interleague play. Oakland, though, not a good sign. Oakland, not a good team, as I mentioned before, and they're probably not going to be really great throughout this season. The Dodgers to give up 6 runs to them right now is a little disappointing, but again, the tail of the tape with this Dodgers team, as we've been talking about, Keith, has just kind of been up and down, peaks and valleys throughout the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
As I mentioned to you off the air tonight before the show, they've kind of had a tough draw because they've been in a few rain delays. They've been postponed a couple times as well, and they haven't really been able to get into any kind of rhythm. Kershaw has suffered a couple losses, which was rare. He lost back-to-back outings to start the season. That hasn't happened, I think, ever. I believe that was the very first time that's happened since he's been a Los Angeles Dodger. So some things out of the blue, no pun intended, that they really haven't been able to kind of get their to grasp, sort of say, to get a good hold on this season. But again, as we continue to say, it is early.
Yeah, it's definitely early, yes. But you don't want to get accustomed to losing, though. And that's the thing about them. You know, to me, if they don't start picking it up soon, then you have to worry a little bit. Not too much, but you have to worry a little bit for the simple fact that you don't want to be sitting at the bottom of the barrel and then playing catch-up the whole season. It's tough in baseball to start at the bottom and get your way all the way back up to the top. It's very tough to do that in baseball. So right now they're sitting right behind San Francisco. They probably want to be a little above Frisco, right in that third position, and just be right in the middle where they can at least, when teams start to wear down, injuries start to happen, you know, those type of things, that they can be able to strike and get themselves back up at the top. When I look at them right now, and you see what they've been doing, you know, it's very hard to repeat what you've done before because you have a target on your back. So a lot of teams will come after you, and you have to be ready for that. Rain delays, whatever the case may be, those other teams are they're in the same position. You playing them, and they have a rain delay. You playing against them, so they got to sit too. You know. So my thing is with them is that they just got to know that them getting after it. They kind of like in games. I've watched a couple of innings, and they really don't start waking up until the 6th or 7th inning. And then they try to make a comeback where it's too late. You can't be accustomed to doing that every single game because it doesn't work out that way. They have the games. Some of the games they've won, they really came from behind. The 4 games they've won, they came from behind, and it hasn't really been like a dominant performance just yet. So I think they're trying to figure out their bullpen. I think they still need to try to figure out, you know, those guys. Kershaw and those guys, I think they're pacing themselves. I told you, I think these guys really do pace themselves because of the amount of games that they play and how long the season is. But for the fact remains that you don't want to be sitting at the bottom of the barrel and trying to work it playing catch-up. And because that's a tough thing to do because, again, injuries can occur. Main people that are on your squad, on your team that you need in order to be successful can have injury. You don't know what can happen. So you kind of want to be sitting right there in the middle right now with them. And I'm just seeing the way they start, and I'm looking at the Houston Astros and how they're coming out. And you start looking at other teams like you got Arizona sitting at the top right now in the NL.
Yeah, how about the D-backs at 9-3? They swept the Dodgers in Arizona recently, and they've been a surprise.
Yeah, they've been a surprise. And then you look on the other side of things, you see in Boston, you had mentioned them earlier.
They've been impressive.
They've been impressive as well. So, you know, you just never know what can happen. And so I will say for the Dodgers, they really need to start zoning in and picking it up a little bit in terms of not – Dodger fans don't need to worry. but they need to start picking it up a little bit and start saying we want to be sitting in the middle of the hunt. Come down a couple months from now where we can be able to get ourselves back to the top.
I feel that my concern is with the offense more so than pitching. Pitching has been good, actually, at times so far in this early season. But the offense concerns me, Keith, because throughout time, watching Major League Baseball games, if your offense goes into a funk, and that happens consistently, where you get inconsistent at the plate, and you can only score in spurts every so often, and you rely on the long ball, that can be problematic down the line, because in a moment when you absolutely have to have the hits, you can't go there. You can't have confidence that's going to be there consistently. So that is my concern with this team right now, is getting into, like you said, getting into a groove here offensively, and the longer they go with it, that they're inconsistent, is more worrisome.
Yeah.
They're going to get Turner back. We know that. Once that happens, that should add more consistency to the lineup, as he is their best overall hitter. So they are lacking that at the moment. But still, Chris Taylor's had some big hits for this team so far this year. Corey Seager hit his first home run of the season last night. But they need more. They need more from Bellinger. They need more from Forsythe. They need more from all around. Matt Kemp hit a double. His bat has been good so far. He can probably improve a bit, but so far so good for 2018 for Kemp. But just consistency. They don't want to get into a rhythm where, again, the offense becomes inconsistent, because there's nothing more frustrating in baseball than an offense that does not score with runners in scoring position, and an offense that just cannot get a hit when you need it. So Dave Roberts, I'm sure, is paying very close attention to that, because that's something that they're going to need if they want to win the World Series ultimately this year at the end of the season.
Here's a little sense of humor. Let's just be honest. You know why the Dodgers are where they're at right now? Because the Magic Man hasn't been at the game yet.
That's it, right?
Worried about the Lakers right now. So the Lakers about to end their season. Magic Man comes back, sits himself to the Dodger Stadium and sprinkles a little magic on them, and they'll be right back to normal. So, you know, that's the thing. Hey, like we said, that's just a little sense of humor. But, you know, you're absolutely right.
I appreciate it.
You're absolutely right. You know, offensively, they've been in a slump, and it's hard to. They have to really figure something out sooner better than later. But I think fact remains is that it is still early, but it is concerning as well, because you don't want to see yourselves again at the bottom of the barrel and you're trying to fight your way back to the top. So, you know, you want to be competing. I think it's more concerning the fact that the games that you have won, you have to come from behind to win.
To me, a win's a win.
I understand,
even if you're able to come back.
I understand that, but it's the way they have to come back. It's the way. They always come back towards the end of the game, and sometimes
and that goes into the offense being inconsistent. Yeah. I can see that. To me, again, at this point, especially when you're battling some injuries and you're battling some weird things with rain delays and such to start off the year, any type of win is good because it just gets the ball rolling with some type of winning streak. But obviously, if they're doing this a couple months from now, we're having this conversation, we're probably in a lot of trouble with the team. But again, let's get Turner back. Let's get a little more consistency in the offense going, and let's see how they play out once we get down further the line here. I will say, though, the bullpen, they've gotten good starts from guys like Rio, who pitched last night. The Southpaw had a good outing. They shut out Oakland 4-0 last night in Chavez Ravine. So, again, it's just getting more consistent. That's the biggest thing at the moment. 7-1 right now. Oakland is on top.
That's just, just looking at the score right now, 7-1, I'm like, that's just clear to me that you didn't just come ready to play today. That's what it looks like to me. 7-1, that's hard to come back to. And
again, this is not an Oakland team. Yeah. They're not world beaters by any stretch.
Exactly. But 7-1 is just a horrible performance. It's just you don't want to come out to that in the bottom of the fourth right now. No, what was that World Series game, the last game of the season? What was that score?
It's like 5-1.
5-1?
Yeah, I think it was 5-1.
Yeah. It's
a lot of their games in this early season are very reminiscent of that Game 7 where the bats got ice cold.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of that. I thought it was, on opening day, was somewhat of a mirror image of their performance offensively in Game 7 of the World Series last year. And again, you've seen that in a couple other games this year. So you got to get the offense going. honestly, at the end, sometimes I would take pitching that gives up a lot of runs if I know the offense can make a comeback, but it's demoralizing, Keith, if your offense cannot produce runs because you've got no shot in games. So, again, we got to keep an eye on that. Forsythe, though, is a guy who obviously they're asking a lot from him to fill in for Turner, but he's got to do better than 189 batting-wise coming out of the gates here. He's got to improve. Chase Utley has given him a couple of hits off the bench. That's been good to see. Grant Dahl has been good. I think he's been solid behind the plate. But like I said before, a guy who really needs to step up is Cody Bellinger. They're expecting a lot out of him this season, and with the absence, obviously, getting rid of Adrian Gonzalez in the offseason last year, he is the sole first baseman, and everyone is looking at him on that side of the diamond. So he needs to get it going at the plate. I've been impressed so far what I've seen from Matt Kemp. Expectation level was a little low coming into the season, so he has done well so far to produce hits. Jock Peterson coming off the bench, playing left field every so often. He got a hit tonight. I talked about Chris Taylor at the top of the lineup. I think he has been a good guy to get things going in the number one hole. So, again, we'll keep tabs on this. Alex Wood pitching tonight has been it was a rough go for him. 7 runs in 3 2/3 tonight, and they've had to dip into the bullpen. So, like you said, the Dodgers just scored, so it's 7-2 Oakland now over at Dodger Stadium. By the way, the Lakers are at halftime against the Clippers. They have a 64-53 lead, and our boy Andre Igram's got 5 points. On 2 of 6 shooting from the floor, he's played 18 minutes off the bench in the Lakers' season finale. So maybe a big second half coming up for Ingram. We'll see.
Let's hope to see the G League player come back and do something in the second half, you know. So, I mean, like I said, what a great way to end his season is to play his last games with the Lakers in the NBA. So that's great for him. And like you said earlier, the Dodgers right now are down 7-2. But it is, like you said, it is concerning. I totally agree with you right there, Brad. But, Dodger fans is early. It's really early. And I think it's nothing really that we can worry about. Turner's coming back. So once Turner gets back, you can really start to see what's going on. But if it continues the same route, like you said, then you have to worry, make some changes.
Behind the mic, live from Grunions Sports Bar and Grill in Manhattan Beach, Brad and Keith, we're back for more after this break.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late. We stay informed. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Everybody buckle up. Buckle up.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Can we go to the store? Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Everybody, buckle up.
A lot goes on in the car, but you're in control. So only move when you hear the click that says they're buckled in. Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression.
My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill,
it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
And will give someone in my community
a second chance too.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
This is Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
Welcome back to Behind the Mic. Brad and Keith, we are live once again from Grunions Sports Bar Grill here in Manhattan Beach. Our home always on Wednesday evenings. Thanks to everybody who's listening right now on BehindTheMicShow.com and for everybody who is tuning in on the Behind the Mic app. Don't forget to check out our podcast on iHeartRadio. Lots of basketball discussion tonight. We've also gotten into a lot of baseball here in hour number 2. A little earlier, we spoke with Vincent Page from HaloHangout.com. He does a great job contributing to that site, providing everything, wall-to-wall coverage of the Los Angeles Angels. A lot of Shohei Ohtani discussion with him. We talked about the starting rotation and the injuries they're trying to battle through here at the beginning of this young season, and Mike Scioscia trying to walk that fine line between using the bullpen sparingly and trying to use it when needed here. It's been a little tough, so they're trying to get through this injury period, but luckily the bats have come alive here to start the season with Ohtani, Cole Calhoun, Pujols getting in on the party, and Zach Cozart doing a good job over at second base and been able to do a good job putting together a lot of runs so far in this season. By the way, it is 1-0 Vegas. The Golden Knights are still on top of your Los Angeles Kings as they skate to the third period once they get through the second period intermission from the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. The Lakers have a 64-55 advantage currently over the Clippers as the two of them run from Staples start of the second half as both those teams finish off the 2017-2018 campaign. We were talking about the Dodgers before the break, Keith, and obviously getting off to the slow start. We hope that they're able to break through here shortly. We think they probably will once they get some guys back from the disabled list and such. And we shall see, though, across Major League Baseball right now, as I want to kind of talk about some of the teams in the East. You got Yankees, Red Sox right now at the beginning of the season. This series, I think, and this rivalry is still as juicy as it's always been. Yeah. It doesn't matter the circumstance, what time of the year they're playing, whether it be March, April, July, October. It's always great. We saw the benches kind of clear tonight, and they didn't get into a brawl, but the tensions and the adrenaline was running high. We know that. And you have it's a new era, obviously, for both these teams with younger players for the Yankees and the Red Sox as well. But I've got to say, Boston has been impressive at 9-2 to start off the year. Although they lost tonight, I believe they fell to the Yankees at home. They've been able to really, like the Angels, hit the cover off the baseball, and they've gotten production in the starting rotation. Sale has pitched well. The big question mark for them in the rotation was David Price. If he could get back on track this year, it seems like he's starting to do so. But again, this is a surprise. Them sitting at 9-2, the Red Sox are. The Yankees only at 6-6. The win tonight gets them to 500 on the year. They've been inconsistent. We've heard some boos from the Yankee faithful of Giancarlo Stanton, which I said is a total violation.
Yeah.
But still, they've just been inconsistent to start off the year, kind of similar to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. When you look at it, though, this is a brand new team. You know, the New York Yankees, they remind me of, you know what, let's put it like this. Remind the Cleveland Cavaliers this year when they had brought in all those all-star team, and then they ended up trading them halfway through the season because it just didn't work. They're trying to see if this will work. They got the three-handed monsters out there. Everybody has picked the Yankees to go to the World Series. Everybody has high expectations because you have three of the best, arguably the best batters in baseball this year. And they've started off at they've had a slow start. We both agree that it was a total violation of what the Yankee fans did to Giancarlo Stanton. We agree to that. You just don't do that to a player that's new to your team, number one. But what that does, that affects his confidence level. These guys coming in, their confidence is high. They're excited about playing for a new organization, probably one of the best organizations in baseball historically. And, it's a lot of pressure on those guys. And what they would need is more fan support instead of boos, because that just kills their whole confidence. And the bottom line is, they're human, just like everybody else. They make a little bit more money than, of course, a lot of the the people, the obvious people that are out there. But the bottom line is they're good at what they do. Yes, he started off a little slow, and but he'll pick it up. He's a player he's a postseason player, and that's what you initially want. And this is too early in the season for Yankee fans to be worried right now. They're doing much better than the Dodgers. I can say that. They're sitting in the middle right there in the pack. They're 6-6, and they're a 500 team right now. But Boston, yes, Boston's coming out with fire, and they're trying to reclaim the top and say, hey, we are the team to beat this year in the AL East, in the AL East League, and that's what they're saying right now, and they're playing like it. Obviously, they lost today to the Yankees, but the Yankees are similar to what the Dodgers and the Houston Astros are this year. They got a target on their back because they got an all-star team. And so everybody feels like they want to beat them, and they're going to play their best baseball when they play against them. So the Yankees got to be ready for that. And I typically think they definitely will be. It's, like you said, there's only 12 games into the season. But they'll pick it up. I'm really not concerned with the Yankees. I'm more impressed with the Boston Red Sox, though, because that just came out of nowhere.
It did. They're getting big productions from guys like J.D. Martinez at the plate. 4 ribbies for him tonight, a couple of hits. A very scrutinized signing for Dave Dombrowski and this Red Sox organization during the offseason, but they brought him in, and he's produced so far at the plate, and that's what it's all about. When you pay him the money, they produce. It's a win-win for everybody. Hanley Ramirez in the DH spot has come up big as well. Xander Bogaerts going on the DL, you would think hurt them, but yet they put up 14 runs last night, so it tells me they've got a lot of depth there, Keith, and they're producing on a lot of fronts. And that's what you need so far to begin the new year. Mookie Betts has played well out in right field. Vasquez behind home plate. Again, big-time contributions from a lot of different players spreading the wealth around, so to say. From a hitting perspective, that's what you need. Now, if they can get it pitching-wise, Price takes the loss tonight, but I mentioned before, he seems to be coming around. He pitched well in his first win of the season. They need him. If they're going to make a deep run this year, and if they're going to potentially win the American League East, they'll need Price to have a very consistent season.
Yeah.
On the other side, when you look at the Yankees, Severino got absolutely rocked last night. Again, the Yankees pitching gave up 14 runs in total. Masahiro Tanaka comes out tonight, and he kind of closes the door and gets a solid win. 5 innings pitched, and he gives up a couple of runs, but he's able to kind of bridge the gap later on. And even in a loss, though, the Red Sox still put up 7 runs. So it goes to say how much firepower there is in the Red Sox lineup. But to me, the Yankees, there may be some pressure, and some people may be a little surprised. Well, this is the Yankees. They're supposed to win 20-some World Series championships all the time. But again, this is a very young team, and it's young from top to bottom as far as the owner goes, because the owner, Hal Steinbrenner, has not won there yet.
Yeah.
That was his dad who won.
Exactly.
So this is new territory for him. We all know that Aaron Boone is a rookie manager, and that was my biggest concern with them going into the year was that's why I just couldn't pick them over Houston because of the inexperience at the managerial position and certain other positions within the organization as well. So with it's the unknowns, and it just takes a while for that stuff to mesh together, and it's new. It's new. This is not a veteran Yankees team with Bernie Williams, Paul O'Neill, and Derek Jeter leading the charge. And I just think Yankee fans are in denial about that to an extent. Some are. The educated ones are not, I can tell you that. But some obviously are just still getting warmed up to the fact that this is a young team. Like you said, though, albeit with a lot of firepower in the lineup between Judge, Stanton, and Gary Sanchez once they get it rolling. But to me, the biggest concern about the Yankees has still got to be the rotation. With how Severino got rocked last night in his start, you still don't really know what you're going to get from Sabathia from a full 162-game season. And Tanaka has been up and down. So the pitching, if there's going to be a downfall this year to the Yankees, it will be the rotation.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. And again, yes, they're young, but they have a lot of pressure on them this year, like we had said. And that's when you have that pressure on you, feel it. It does come into play. And it's a lot of high expectations for them because of the addition to players that they have, but they're a young, skilled team. They're very young. They're skilled, and that's what makes them dangerous. Is because they're young and they really don't care about who they play. They're just going to go out there and play. It can definitely hurt them, but it can help them because if they feed into the crowd, they feed into the hype. Then it can hurt them, and they can find themselves sinking. But if they kind of focus on a game at a time and do what they do, eventually they'll come up on top because they just got the better players. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it.
Talent wins out in the long run.
Win out in the long run, and it's it's like it's just we were having this conversation 2 months from now, 3 months from now, then I will be like, okay.
Yeah, it's like the Dodgers. Yeah. It's the same type of talking point with them as well.
Exactly.
It's early in the season. It sounds like a broken record at this point, but it's so true. Again, though, Yankees-Red Sox, the rivalry is still as alive and energetic as it's always been.
Never going to change.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. And by the way, Stanley Cup playoffs began tonight. We're just seeing the highlights now in here inside Grunions. Pittsburgh just absolutely dominated Philadelphia 7-0. And then currently right now it's 2-1-0. The Golden Knights on top of the LA Kings, second intermission.
Hang in there, man.
They are.
They're hanging in there. Hopefully they can make something happen in this last quarter that they play right here. And but if they can stay close, if the Kings can stay close, they can possibly pull it out. And I think that's their whole thing. Just stay close, and then we'll get our opportunities. So. It kind of reminds me of, it kind of reminds me of when they actually were making a run to the Stanley Cup and winning it. If they can stay close on these teams, they can beat them. They're very solid. They're a solid team, so we'll see.
The other final tonight in the NHL playoffs, Winnipeg knocked off Minnesota 3-2 in Game 1 of that series. And then, of course, the quote-unquote NBA playoff game tonight, the play-in game, however you want to kind of phrase it, featured Minnesota knocking out Denver. Minnesota will be the 8th seed. They'll take on the top-seeded Houston Rockets in the Western Conference as the playoffs get rolling this weekend. Hard to believe already. And we can't wait for all that action. Tomorrow night we'll be at Kings Cove, obviously. It's an off night in that Knights Kings series, but there's no doubt that crowd will be fired up nonetheless, and people will be talking hockey tomorrow in Kings Cove. So we'll talk more about the Kings Knights series tomorrow night from Kings Cove. We'll also get into more NBA playoff conversations as the official bracket of the NBA playoffs will be set. We will officially know the matchups tomorrow evening, and we'll also get into everything else that's going on in the world of sports. And by the way, the brand new HBO documentary, Andre the Giant, you might have seen it the last couple of days. It's I believe, Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons podcast, formerly of ESPN. He served as the executive producer of it. I heard it's terrific. There was a great article written today in Rolling Stone magazine by Sean Newman. He's a columnist for them. Sean's going to join us tomorrow night here on Behind the Mic and talking about this Andre the Giant documentary. I'm going to watch it tonight. I think Keith's going to try and check it out as well. I saw the trailer last night. It looks pretty good. It talks about a figure in wrestling that I feel like a lot of us don't know that much about.
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated to check it out.
He was a big time wrestler. Him and Hulk Hogan. Those were the two. There was like the rivalry.
Yeah.
Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. And Ultimate Warrior came in later on down. But icon. Andre the Giant was an icon.
We'll talk about it tomorrow night. Like I said, Sean Newman will join us from Rolling Stone magazine, and we will dive into everything else that's going on in the world of sports. Again, Lakers-Clippers wrapping up their regular season tonight. 77-65, Lakers in control right now, halfway through the third period. That's going to do it for tonight's show. Great one here from Grunions, as it usually is on a Wednesday evening. Thanks to everybody who came out. Thanks to everybody who listened on the line. If you haven't done so, download that official Behind the Mic app and check out our podcast on iHeartRadio. For Keith, I'm Brad. Keep living the dream. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.